Assalamu alaikum, peace and love. It's the chosen one, it's the guided one. It's the guided one, it's the chosen one, it's the man with the pitcher of water. I'm here with ZAKI to DUNYA. And today we're going to be talking about what is a man? What is a man? You want to start it off for us, man?
Okay, thanks for passing off for me, ZAKI.
Yeah, definitely.
So the reason I wanted to talk about this, man, is because I think, especially this generation, right, of men, brothers, and stuff, when you
the speakers here, so try to speak
so whenever you look at the mainstream media, a lot of things that you notice in the last recent years is a focus on masculinity in a way mostly to be negative, right? Like masculinity is in crisis and this, that, and third. And it seems like that's a narrative they want to push to get people to question themselves in a bad way, like they're like ashamed of themselves for what they are, what's in between their legs. Like, I'm not ashamed of being a man. I'm not going to be ashamed of what I am, And now I think it's really problematic that they kind of pose that question in that way with that tone. But I feel like young boys, especially young black boys, young men of color, we've always been looked upon as being a threat by society, and it's ironic now that with the whole BLM movement and things like that, and they don't acknowledge that they kind of contribute to that. They contribute to the criminalization of black men or the fear of black men at the same time when they do notions of toxic masculinity. Because in my opinion, the black men were the original man, and I think we really embody masculinity just with our pigmentation alone, right? And that's why they say tall, dark, and handsome, right?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Real talk.
I was thinking about that. Yeah.
Let's be real, bro. So in our culture, in particular, especially like the culture of our ancestors, was really men had such a powerful position in society, and were expected to be the warriors, the providers, the teachers, the scholars, and things like that, And mentorship and brotherhood were considered sacrosanct, the most important aspects of society. And then now, as you see with the postmodern movement and things like that, being a warrior is considered bad, because that requires aggression. You know what I'm saying? So being a warrior is looked upon as a bad thing.
Right.
Being strong and powerful is looked upon as being a bad thing. Dominating your environment is looked upon as a bad thing. And now it's being like afraid or being passive aggressive is looked upon as appropriate behavior.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And especially as a black man, I noticed that most of my life I've intimidated people just for existing, my presence.
Just your presence alone. Yeah.
Exactly, man. And it's ironic that we talk about racism and quote white supremacy and privilege without acknowledging that. You know what I mean? So, brother, you can take the floor for a little bit.
Yeah, man. It's like I said in one of my other videos. Men are the prize, and I always operate like that. You remember the other brother we met the other day, and he was like, "Hey, man, why don't you go? Let's go talk to some girls." And I was like, "No, man, it's just religiously, it's not what I do." And then at the same time, even if I wanted to do that, I let girls come to me because I'm the prize. And as men, I don't think we're taught that at a young age. It's something I come to the conclusion of. It's not something I learned my whole life. It's that we are the prize, and we give life. Women don't give life. We give life, and women sustain it, nurture it, and bring it forth for us. And I always tell men, look down at your balls. They move. They move. If you ever analyze your balls in the shower or something, they move. That's because it's teeming with life. And so we've gotten to a point where we've allowed things like feminism and these principalities in place in society to tear down the family structure, which is another tactic they used during slavery, which was get the biggest, baddest dude and tear him down so that nobody else lifts up and tries to rebel.
Facts.
And that's kind of what they've done with society now, but just in more indirect ways where it's now, attack his pay, attack his woman's mindset so that she thinks she's independent from him, so that he doesn't have any purpose to uphold his family and move society forward. And I think there's so many different aspects that are under attack, and I think it's about time we attack back intellectually, right? Not picking up guns, not selling drugs like most people think, especially in the black community, most people think we're going to do in order to assert our masculinity. That's not how you assert masculinity. The best way to do that is with intellect, melanin, the way in which you treat the people around you. And like you said, it's dominating your environment. But nowadays it's so complex how they've dominated our environment. And so now we have to figure out a more complex way to get our environment back in our own hands. And that's tough, whether that's a literal thing or a figurative thing. And I think it's both. Literally, we need to actually get our land back. We need to get our women back and their mental back. And then figuratively, we need to, get ourselves back to willing to die for what we believe in. And that's what men did. That's what warriors were. You mentioned warriors.
Yeah.
That's what warriors really did. They wanted to die for what they believe in. And the modern, I wouldn't say the modern man, but I would say the American man is a pussy. He doesn't want to die for what he believes in.
Facts, bro.
And he'd rather sit around and talk, just like all these females. They want to sit around and talk all day. The modern man is doing the same thing. He's just sitting around and talking about issues, whether it's sports, whether it's all these other things. They're not actually accomplishing anything.
Facts,
and
bro.
they're only uplifting all these other ideologies, all these other schisms, like capitalism, like what else? Socialism, believe it or not, which is against masculinity in every way. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's wild that everybody gets a fair share, even if you didn't earn it. Like, come on now, like that. As a man, how can you even stand yourself and operate that way? You know what I mean? So it's just showing you different factors, bro. But that's what I got for now, man. I've definitely made other videos in the past talking about certain aspects of it, but yeah, for right now, that's what I got. And yeah, so let me ask you, what do you think a man is ultimately? We've talked about like what we think society has done to take away from the man. What do you think a man is in your definition?
Thanks, brother, man. That was some really good points. I think for me, a man is someone that stands up for the right thing, irregardless of the repercussions of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I have issues with my dad, you know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong, but one thing he always told me is you stand up for the right thing, even if it's to your detriment. You know what I'm saying? Don't. But men these days are so concerned with having friends and influence and all that kinds of stuff. They will dumb themselves down. They keep silent when they see injustice and oppression or something that's just wrong in general go down. I think that also we're supposed to be protectors. We're supposed to be providers. Also, and now in this hyper-capitalist, gynocentric society, now it's like the whole independence thing and anti-family kind of narrative that goes down. And it's just like I felt great when I was in a relationship and I was take my woman out, pay for the roof over our head, things like that. That made me feel so accomplished. And then now we wonder why men suffer from so many mental issues and suicide and all this kind of stuff. It's because we've been taken away from the thing that made us feel the most important. Like that's something naturally in our blood. That's not some freaking crazy concept. And with the cultural Marxism makes you feel like everything that exists is something that's just floats in the air. That's just an idea. But no, if you look at the animal kingdom, for instance, almost every single species that has a female-male, a biological thing, the man is the protector and the provider.
Oh, yeah.
And especially it's ironic that cultural Marxists, because a lot of them believe in, the Darwinism, right?
Yeah.
They'll acknowledge Darwinism, but they will ignore the part of Darwinism that, that says evolutionary. The reason we gotten here is because of that system, ironically. You know what I'm saying? So,
exactly. Yeah. It is ironic. Yeah, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah,
it's a great perception. Yeah, I also heard that the buffalo, when they sense danger, the women and children will be in the center, and the men or the males will circle the outer ring to protect them. And we don't have that anymore. I heard that somewhere. I can't remember, but I thought that was a great concept. Like that animals can do that, and we don't even do that for ourselves.
Bro, it's also some trippy about the animal kingdom. I used to like watching the safari stuff, man, and the predators will never take out the strongest of the group, of the pack, or the herd. They always go for the weakest. You know what I'm saying? and even animals know. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I don't know if it's like respect because I don't know the mind of an animal. They're all instinctual, right? But even the natural order is they will attack the weakest one and not the strongest one, because like, let's say you attack the strongest one, then the pride or the herd just diminishes, and then you lose your food source.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's deep. I forgot what I was going to talk about. I was going to say how do you think feminism, BLM, and homosexuality plays a role in masculinity and how it's been affected?
So with the last point with the homosexuality, that's very interesting because Western culture basically was created and started by the Hellenistic and Roman societies, and they had they were very open to to homosexuality.
Oh yeah.
But it's ironic though that even with them, they still had patriarchy. Like men were they participated in those activities, but they still had to have a family. They still valued that. And in fact, Emperor Augustus actually was one of the first emperors to say, hey, we need to clamp down on that. We need to create more families. Yeah. Like, adultery became punishable by death and all the different kinds of stuff, right? Because they acknowledge that a family with a strong male lead is the most productive society. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now it's just everything's willy-nilly. Like gender is like a concept is, basically you can identify wherever you want to. I think that's more dangerous, honestly. I think the whole gender thing is the most toxic thing. It's like, gender is a social construct. It's like nature doesn't say that.
Yeah, exactly. Like how? Okay, so what you're telling me? Animals just all of a sudden they choose to be, they socially male or socially female? Like, come on now.
Yeah, exactly. Like a lioness becomes like, I got a mane now.
Yeah, right.
I can lead the pride. Are you freaking kidding me, bro?
Right, exactly. I don't feel like giving birth today. You do it. Like, come on.
Yeah, bro.
Crazy,
it creates chaos, bro, and that it's cultural Marxism, and cultural Marxism is about creating chaos so an elite group of people can basically arise and then control society very easily. In a society that's patriarchal, where men are willing to fight and die to protect their families, and to protect their values, is a dangerous society. That's why they're trying to take away weapons from us. On top of it, I mean, that's going to be the nail in the coffin right there. Once they take away the weapons and stuff like that, and then men don't even know how to fight anymore, bro.
Man, it was so crazy because I was just passing up. I did a little bit of Krav Maga back in when I was doing that program, but I actually passed a place today, and I actually have the card in my car. I was gonna go and take Krav Maga lessons again, some boxing lessons again.
Right on.
And just to kind of get that, to take care of self, but just to kind of get that masculine frame back. You know what I mean? Because you're right, most men don't know how to fight nowadays anymore, bro. And like, you don't even have to know how to fight; just know how to defend yourself. Because it doesn't matter if you're an MMA fighter; everybody can be knocked out.
Yeah.
You get the right hit, and anyone can be knocked out.
Yeah. And then what's crazy is like
they don't have the will to fight anymore.
They tried to certain times. I remember certain times they tried to bring back in programs like that to teach boxing and all that kind of stuff to kids and stuff like that, particularly young men. But with the cultural Marxism, feminism, like, that's teaching toxic masculinity and teaching kids violence and stuff. It's like, bro, it's insane. It's funny. The cultural Marxists and the BLM and all those people, they hate the police, right? But they expect, they don't want to teach people how to defend themselves, so they don't need the police.
Right.
It's freaking ironic, you know what I'm saying? And young boys, we have all this energy, bro. And I remember, like, dude, we have all this freaking energy, but it's
that's where it starts. Yeah.
Exactly. It's sent off in the wrong direction. So we have this pent up energy, and what society does this is because they teach us in a guidance-centric frame, right? And so what we do with that energy, we put it into negative things. So that's why boys join gangs and do drugs and get steeped into pornography and hypersexual activities and stuff like that, because their masculine energy isn't being utilized for something good.
Exactly. And that's I said that's where it starts, because young boys are always. See, we have something called testosterone, right? We have that electric kind of masculine frame. The women, they have the magnetic frame, right? And so when you try to hinder that, and what you're doing is you're actually killing a young male's life, a young man's vitality.
Yeah.
And when you do that, like if you look at schools, right? The reason young boys can't sit down in school is because we have testosterone. It's that simple. It gives us energy.
Yep.
So when you try to make him more feminine and tell him to sit down, cross his legs, pay attention, he's not internally. He's not, a social creature.
Yeah.
You know, when they've done a study where they've left the girls and the boys to kind of how do you say, categorize themselves. The girls will go and build social circles and just like talk. The boys will go and build hierarchies and status. And it's crazy how you see that. But now they've targeted the boys and say, hey, we need you to be like the girls. You know, don't hit your don't hit your sister. You know, because she's a girl. Don't do this. Don't do that. Sit down. You know, be quiet. Don't be as rambunctious. You know, and they're giving drugs and told that they have ADHD and all these other things. Like, it's sick and it's ridiculous. You know?
Yeah, I always think about stuff like ADHD because I was diagnosed with that. I was given medication and stuff. And the thing is, now I kind of realize that society is the problem. So the way society is structured and how it's changed, how we're supposed to operate is, no problem. They want us to be meant to be machines, but women somehow they're more able to be their authentic selves. But
right.
we're just basically supposed to be machines.
I like that you said that, brother, because what I've noticed is that a woman's sexuality is always accepted.
Yeah.
A man's sexuality, it's filtered and it's exactly. It's deemed as a threat. Women can practice their sexuality like it's no tomorrow. If she wanted to walk the streets in a bikini, she could. A man, let him just walk the streets, no shirt, underwear, and a bulge and everything. I'm telling you, the cops would be here in a second.
Yeah, exactly.
People would be covering their little girl's eyes, but they don't do it when a woman walks by. Her ass cheeks are hanging out, tits popping out. It's sad.
Another thing that's hypocritical too is being a cougar is looked upon as a good thing. Like, oh, good, yeah, girl, you're in your 40s and you're picking up freaking 18-year-old boys and stuff like that, and you still got it. A 40-something-year-old guy or middle-aged man that picks up girls fresh out of high school or in their early 20s is looked upon as being a creep.
Right. Exactly.
Super hypocritical, bro. But we naturally want to do that. Why? Because young women are fertile.
Right.
If you're a man and you reach a point in your life where you can actually provide for a family, because the way things is, back in the day, you used to be in your 20s, being able to get a 9-to-5 job and be able to provide for your family. But economically now, a lot of guys aren't in that position until they're 30-something, 40-something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the time they're like, hey, I want to settle down. You know what I'm saying? To start a family. Do you really want to start a family with a girl that's 40-something, a woman that's 40-something years old? Maybe statistically, she's probably going to have kids from a previous marriage or, baby mama, baby daddy kind of thing. Or do you want a girl that is still learning herself, more likely to be submissive, that's, fertile? You know what I'm saying? It makes common sense, but, they look upon that as being predatory.
Right.
But it's ironic.
Right, it's trippy, bro.
Yeah, with the ratio of men to women, and especially they hate polygamy, right? But a lot of women are going to go unmarried, just because of the numbers.
Right.
So the monogamous thing, just in and of itself, is unrealistic in the long shot. You know what I mean? So how our society is just Looney Tunes, man.
It is, and that's what I was about to get at too. Is that they hate polygamy, but they'll watch The Bachelorette like it's nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, polygamy's bad, but hey, what was the girl's name? I'm just come up with a name. Brittany. She can have multiple suitors, multiple men she's making out with to figure out which one is the right one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that alone destroys a woman's capability to imprint. To what's the word? It's not imprint, but
basically, I know fall in love with one guy. And
fall in love, yeah. But there's a word for it. It's gonna bother me if I don't get it out.
I can't think of it right now.
There's a word. It'll come up. Watch. It'll come up. Inshallah. But what I wanted to say was that even within today's societal norms, which we know are like bad, like for example pornography, within these terrible societal norms, we still have men being men have a bad taste in people's mouths. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Men are looked at as the bad guys. Look at porn, right? They always say, if a man watches porn, he's a pervert, he's a creep. He should be put in prison. But they never say anything about the millions of women who create the porn. You know what I mean? And it's when are we going to hold women accountable for that? And that's another thing that bothers me about masculinity is that it's there's such an attack on it that people don't even realize it's become the norm. Even in sitcoms, you have the man is a piece of shit and his wife runs all over him. I used to love King of Queens.
Yeah, man, bro,
yeah. That series, they used to crack me up, but he was a simp. And his wife would just do whatever she wanted.
You know, and in those situations too, man, if you look at infidelity, bro, like female cheating is actually at an all-time high, and it's kind of underground. It's culturally accepted. It's culturally acceptable. Yeah, and
women don't hold each other accountable for it.
Definitely, bro. And so in a lot of those marriages where like the guy's a simp, you really think she's getting off to having sex with that dude, a guy that she can mess around like and treat like crap and demasculinize? No, because naturally she still wants a guy that can put it down, that has, you know, masculine characteristics, whether it be in the bedroom or outside, right? Definitely. So that's why like a lot of like girls are like, hey man, if you look at the workplace, for instance, I know so many times I work with people, with girls that are in relationships or married, and they're super flirtatious with other guys, super flirtatious, and they act like they're dumb. They act dumb like they're not doing it, but I tell you, a lot of that starts because the guy at home is a simp, and they're not attracted to him. But in the workplace, they see a guy that's a go-getter, that's about shows leadership qualities and stuff like that, and they're naturally attracted to that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And one of my exes did that, and it was the worst. You never want your significant other, as a man, you don't want your significant other working in an office job. That's the worst.
Facts, bro. I work in the office, so
I'll tell you from experience. Like, and the thing about women is they'll come home and tell you secretly. So you always have to pay attention. Right? Yeah. They'll come home and tell you secretly who they're interested in or messing around with. And my wife did that, and we coined a name for the guy, and I called him Pervy Steve. I was like, so you're going to work with Pervy Steve, huh? Make sure you smile at him when he compliments you, right? Not realizing that that's really what was taking place. My wife was at work in an office job, all by herself, flirting with another man. It's sad, and women aren't held accountable for that. They can easily get away with it, and their counterparts will support them. But with men, it's seen as if he does that, oh, he's a scum. Oh, he's married. Oh man, that's even though I tried to seduce him, you know, I'm just gonna label him a pervert or whatever the case is. You know, there's no accountability. You know.
Well, it's also kind of grinds my gears too. Is I was like a really Salam alaikum, sister. So, sisters all day, hijabis all day. You know, so you gotta represent. So a thing for me was I never wanted to be a scumbag, douchebag boyfriend, you know, or lover or whatever like that when I was younger. And I always was like, dude, I'm a super romantic guy. Dude, I was raised up all those romance movies. Like I was like, dude, I'm the one. I'm gonna find the one, this beautiful girl, this magical girl, and I'm just gonna like freaking be loyal to her and never treat her bad and kiss her feet every morning and worship the ground that she walked on, right? And then I came on, and reality was like, no, that's not how things work, and unfortunately in the real world, right? That's propaganda that they taught us to demasculinize us, right? So when I noticed,
like they said, high school, demasculinize us. That's so true. Yeah.
Exactly. So in high school, I noticed all the guys were pieces of crap. Got all the girls, right? And a lot of the times they had other girlfriends. They were like just swapping different girls out every now and then, right? And I was just like, man, like that sucks. But dude, that worked for me when I was like, when I finally broke down. I was just like, hey, you know, I'm tired of like, you know, not getting the girls I want. I'm tired of being treated like crap when I do get one. Oh, hey, I'm just gonna become a player, right? Bro, like, girls that knew I was in a freaking relationship used to hit on me all the time, especially on social media, bro. They would see I had a girlfriend and stuff like that, and then I don't know what it was, bro, but it was so easy. It was so much more easier to get girls when I was in a relationship.
It's sad, bro.
You know what I'm saying? And it's so weird. It never makes any sense to me because they always talk about the sisterhood and that women are together and stuff, but like, I never forget this, bro. Here's a good story. During New Year's Eve, I was the only guy hanging out with a group of girls. It was my girlfriend's friends, and I was hanging out with them during New Year's. And there was a good friend of mine that from Hawaii, he wanted to hang out with me, but she was just like, hey, we've already been drinking. I'm not going to drop you off to hang out with him. I was like, whatever. So I endured a night with a bunch of horny, freaking desperate chicks. And I was the only dude there. And there was one girl from New York, bro. She was like all over me, like hugging me every 5 seconds and like squeezing me in my shoulders and my chest and all kinds of stuff the whole night, trying to kiss my neck. And she was like, oh my God, you're a real man. There's not a lot of guys like you in New York City and all kinds of stuff. And dude, she was so turned on by me, bro. So I guarantee I could have taken her to the bathroom and done the business. And my girlfriend sat there and did nothing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? She didn't call her friend out, and she got mad at me. I'm like, dude, I'm not doing anything.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's
they don't hold
crazy.
each other accountable because even if she doesn't like the woman, she can't hold her accountable because if she holds the other woman accountable, then what she's doing is attacking herself. It's such a weird psychosis behind how they group orient themselves that it's so deep that even if they know she's doing wrong and it's against her, she may not even correct her. They'll fight, yeah. They'll do all these other things, but they'll never actually call each other out for like certain things. It's so crazy.
What also kind of gets me, bro, it's like I feel like guys are different, like with this aspect. Let me dig this.
Yeah.
If you hook up with one girl, there's that Spice Girl songs. If you want to be with my lover, you got to get with my friends, right? Dude, that always tripped me out because, dude, in life, real talk, if I hook up with one girl, I know I can hook up with her friends afterwards. Regardless, like even if we have a bad breakup with that girl, I know if I can slide in her friends' DMs, I can smash, bro.
Yeah.
Like it really is like that. But guys, we're the opposite. Like we don't want to hook up with our friends like exes and our friends like that's looked upon as being like
Sloppy
disgusting.
seconds,
sloppy seconds and all that kind of stuff. And then like that's supposed to be your boy. You know what I'm saying? I've stopped myself several times from doing that, bro. I've had my a friend of mine's ex or acquaintance of mine's ex come and hit on me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, I'm not gonna smash my acquaintance's ex because, dude, like as a guy, I know that would break his heart. Like he's supposed to be my boy, and I'm smashing his girl. You know what I'm saying? Like that's foul. You know what I mean?
It's crazy, yeah. And that's what I hate about what do they call it? Damn, dude, I'm at a loss for words today. Bismillah. Double standard. There you go.
Yeah.
It's double standards.
They like
man.
double standards that benefit them, but they don't like double
yeah.
double standards that don't benefit them.
Right,
you know what
exactly.
I'm saying? It's just like, hey, like the whole concept, like, this is not fair. That the fact that like life is supposed to be looked upon fair. That I remember that as a kid, they really harped on like, you know what I'm saying? Like we have to be fair and this, that, and third. Life's not fair. Nature's not fair.
Fairness doesn't mean equality.
Yeah.
Because I saw this picture when I was young, and it said, "This is a woman's version of equality," and it was a short woman and a tall man.
Yeah.
They had the same size stepping stool to look over the wall.
Yeah.
The guy was able to see over the wall. The girl wasn't. But that's equality. You have the same opportunity, but guess what? You're shorter at the end of the day. He's taller. It's just what it is.
Yeah, bro.
And that's what women have to accept is that men and women aren't equal. Men can't do certain things that women do. Women can't do certain things that men do. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible, but you can, at the end of the day, even if you are able to do certain things that are masculine, at the end of the day, it'll destroy you. You know what I mean? And there's actual physiological things that take place. The reason a lot of women get fibroids and mustaches and beards is because in some way, shape, or form, the way they're living their life, they're doing it in a masculine way. Whether it's going to work all the time, putting their bodies under stress. And to compensate for that stress, their bodies don't produce enough progesterone or estrogen, which produces the hormones to keep her in her feminine frame. And that's what we see nowadays.
Dude, you know what's also trips me out? It's also guys that have something going on are not sticking with American women. They want to go overseas.
When they get rich, they get out of here.
Yeah. They want to go overseas and stuff like that because American culture is anti-family. American culture is anti-stable long-term relationships. That's why they worship celebrities and stuff like that. Like celebrities always have dysfunctional freaking relationships, right? There's always cheating and divorce is like the norm. Divorce is encouraged, in fact. And so like, you know, especially I know it's like, let's say white guys, right? A lot of white guys will go to freaking Asian, you know, they fetishize Asian women. Why do they fetishize Asian women? Because real talk, because in those cultures, in those cultures, women are more submissive, and family is considered a very important thing, right? A lot of black men, for instance, I noticed they'll go for girls from Africa or Latin America. Why? Because in those cultures,
Brazilian girls,
exactly. In those cultures, they're beautiful and they're submissive and they're pro-family, right? So like I always think about that a lot, man. Like a lot of guys in general in America, irregardless of race, are not really interested in American women. Now, like sexually, of course, you know that's a no-brainer, right? I mean, if a girl looks good, she looks good. But I'm talking about like relationship-wise, like it's dysfunctional to try to date one American woman, the average American woman, you know?
It's pretty crazy, man. Yeah, but going back to the topic of homosexuality, I think a lot of that problem that men face is that we're the real men, right? It's a very small percentage of us, you know what I mean? And if you're not gay, if you're not in prison, or you're not a bum, it's weird because we have all the options in terms of women. If you're a real man, or at least you're trying to be a real man, right? Because there's a select few of us. Like I said, we are the prize. We don't realize that, and the women don't realize that. So it's like, it's like slim pickings, but there's so many options. So many bad options is what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. It's like going into the store and you're looking for, you know, a certain bag of chips, but they have all the disgusting bag of chips. You know what I mean? Like it's like, damn, I came in here for like, I don't know, what do people like, Doritos?
Yeah.
You know, I came in here for a bag of Doritos. All they have is what's terrible chips? Tostinos, like those like tortilla chips, but they're really fragile and stuff. They're crappy. Tostinos, yeah. Or they like generic Doritos.
Yeah.
Or the cheese is just like overpowering. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Fritos are freaking. The original Fritos are disgusting. Like that's why they had to make a Frito pie. Like, but just eating them by themselves, like those corn chips, are disgusting.
Right? It's weird.
Yeah.
Nah, but yeah, and I think that's kind of what we have nowadays. It's like, oh yeah, she looks good, but mentally, psychologically, they're gone, bro. And it's like the more beautiful women are nowadays, especially in this country, the more beautiful, the more stupid. The more beautiful, the more bitchy. You know what I mean? It's crazy nowadays. It really is. It's rare that you find a woman who's as beautiful on the inside as she is on the outside.
Yeah, bro. Big facts, bro. And one thing I kind of think about too is we were talking about this other day. There was like, so there was some girls, right, and they were really, really thirsty. They were hitting on me like hardcore, right?
Oh yeah.
And you know, they basically threw it at me. You know what I'm saying? And I was just like, and I'm glad I'm more mature than I used to be. But back in the day, I would have slayed them, right? But now I'm just like, dude, it's not even worth my time. And here's the thing with society, right? They want to dumb you down into just being a walking dick with a wallet, right? That's what they want you to be, and they want you to think with your dick because it makes you dumb. It's your lower self, right? And you know, and so
they get what they can out of you, and then they shame you for it after that. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like, how many men? Let's be honest, brothers. How many of us use our time productively? How much do we spend looking for sex and validation through sex? Whether it be searching for pornography, watching videos, or masturbating excessively. Constantly trying to go to clubs and bars to try to pick chicks up. Constantly surfing on Tinder to pick chicks up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
It gets ridiculous.
And think about it this way: if you have to go there to get chicks, think to yourself, okay, why are they here? They must not have accomplished much in life if they're there at the bar, you know, on a Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They must not be doing much with their life. They're either a college student or some old hag, or they're illegal age who snuck in or whatever. You know, they're never anybody that's worth of any value at a bar or a club or any place that you go to go get a chick. Like I said, you have to realize you are the prize as the man. And I actually told a group of women that when I was at work, they were hitting on me and everything. And they're like, oh, she likes you. Why don't you go after that? I'm like, well, I don't chase women. I'm the prize. And they looked at me like, oh, like, because it wasn't the norm. You know, and that's what we have to do nowadays. We have to establish ourselves outside of the norm, which is maintain your masculine frame at all times. And that, ultimately, that will attract the most women, actually. The women will flock to you. And it's like, they see that as being an asshole, but really, you're just focused on self. You're just focused on your purpose. You know what I mean? I had to learn this. I'm just now learning this. I learned this maybe a couple years ago. And up until this point now, you know, where, you know, it becomes, it has to be a mindset first, and then a practice. Because the brain, or the body follows the mind, you know what I mean? And ultimately, that's kind of what I feel like the modern man is today. The ancient man, the men that we used to be, was representative of God, you know, representative of the masculine aspects of the cosmos, and that's how we were able to prosper. And when it came time to build languages and societies, we modeled language and societies after the masculine aspects of the universe, masculine aspects of nature. You know what I mean? And so, that's all we have to go back to. You know what I'm saying? That's all I got for now. You know?
Yeah. I guess it's like the last comment I want to say is the worst part of it is that guys get indoctrinated when they go through high school and college and through music and culture to you know, feminize themselves, and I align with the cultural Marxism of feminism and stuff like that, even though it's to their detriment.
Yeah.
Because it's always funny that these male feminists, they kind of wake up later on in life after they get divorced and run through divorce court, you know what I'm saying, and after, you know, their daughter becomes a porn star and all this other kind of stuff.
The worst.
Yeah, and then, you know, after that, they kind of realize, oh, I kind of like, you know, hey, feminism is crap, you know what I'm saying? Especially look at the rise of male suicide rate. The prison industrial complex, which targets men overwhelmingly, right? Especially black men and men of color. You know, like, if you're a male feminist, you're basically shooting yourself in the foot.
Oh yeah.
You
might as well cut your dick off.
Yeah, and they're doing it. The reason they do it is because they that's the way an avenue. Especially, we live in a college. This is a college town, right? That's how you get girls in a college town, is by adopting their ideals, which is the most unmasculine thing you could do. Yeah,
it's so crazy. I will never belittle myself to a woman's ideology or perception or convenience just to get at her. I'm going to maintain my masculine fame. She has to follow my program. Yeah, I like that you said that, bro.
Yeah, exactly, bro.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's actually, what's also funny, too, is a lot of male feminists are the main ones that get cases for, like, sexual assault and stuff like that, ironically, right? They'll use you when it's convenient, but they'll throw you to the wolves when you don't turn them on anymore. They can't use you anymore. Yeah.
Dude, I've heard some of these girls, I'm not going to say women, these girls, they think they're so sophisticated because they're on their own, they're in college now, but they sit down and all they do is talk shit about all the guys they're manipulating. That's all they do.
Yep.
You know?
Big facts, bro.
If they're not some nerdy girl who's focused on her grades or whatever, they're usually talking about some gossip, some materialistic thing, or how many men they're manipulating.
Big facts, bro. And even, like, another thing, dude, is like, I really try to mentor, you know, the younger cats and stuff, you know, and be like this, man. When you find a girl that you like, bro, try to have a real conversation with her about stuff that's actually important. But and you'll notice, unfortunately, man, the norm is gossip, and free gossip, celebrities, stupid crap, and materialism, and, you know, just dumb conversations. I feel like I talk to my nephew. He's like freaking 11 years old. I have more in-depth conversations with him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Same, bro.
Yeah.
My nephew's 10, bro, and he was talking to me about different aspects of anomalies.
Yeah, nature.
I can't have that
and all kinds of
conversation with a
stuff.
grown woman nowadays.
Yeah.
They'll look at you like you're crazy. Like, just compliment my nails and my hair. Like, I don't care about that.
Or even when you even talk to like girls about politics like that they think they're super politically knowledgeable and stuff like that. You'll notice that if it's not something that they read on CNN or some freaking website or whatever like that, they really kind of don't think for themselves. It's basically that's why they look at the Democratic Party. I mean, you know, basically. They just, you know, it's literally like they read a script of what their political ideology is and stuff like that. They don't really question a lot of things.
Yeah, every ideology in American culture today is always filtered through democracy. You notice that?
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
That's so trippy.
It's crazy, bro.
That's so true, but yeah.
Also, it's like the bar gets lowered and stuff. For instance, like, you know, Kamala Harris is our vice president and stuff like that. You know, if she had been a guy, I don't think, or a black man, I don't think she would have been able to get as much support.
Right.
And especially if you look at her track record as a prosecutor and stuff, she's done a lot of really messed up, problematic things, especially against people of color, black men, and the working class. That's who she works.
Oh, yeah.
That's who she, you know, she's often
It's funny,
targeted.
I saw a video today. She used to date Montel Williams.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but she doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't care. You know, about black people or the working class whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? She's just another freaking West Coast elitist from the Bay Area, and that serves her own interests and things like that, man.
Right.
But the bar gets so lowered for them as opposed to us. Like we have to be like perfect, you know.
Right,
like,
right.
dude, if you say the wrong word or something like that, or let's say you grab the girl's butt when you were in 5th grade or something like that, and that comes to light, oh my God, you know, like you're a predator, this, that, and the third, and you're canceled, and then your whole career gets ruined. But like girls like can do like pretty much anything and everything, scandals and stuff like that, and still be put to the forefront.
Right, exactly. That happened to me when I was younger. Like, I had this girl, and she was cool. But I had this thing, I don't like being spit on, bro. That's the worst. If you want to piss me off, spit on me. I'll knock you out. That's the worst thing to me. And this girl, I was like 4th grade. This girl, her name was Olga. She ended up spitting on me, right?
Yeah.
And I was disgusted. And I thought she was so cool. We used to be friends, hang out at recess and everything. But she spit on me, and I was confused. I was like, why would you spit on me? That was disgusting, right? So I actually told the teacher, right? Because I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to beat her up like one of the guys, you know. So I didn't know what to do. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna tell somebody. I gotta tell somebody. So I told the teacher, and the teacher told me. You know what she told me? Well, sometimes when girls like you, they do things like that.
They do.
And I was like,
yeah,
okay, I get that, but imagine if I did that. Man, my parents probably would have came to the school and whooped my ass. Especially if it was a white girl.
Oh,
Come on, bro.
You would have been done, bro.
Man.
Another thing
this
is my final point too. There are protected classes in society today. And a woman can say the most slanderous, disgusting thing about a guy and not facing the repercussions of it. Because let's be honest, as men, if you talk shit, boy, you know what I'm saying, we're pulling up. Like, what's good?
Right.
Well, you can't do that to a woman. She can say whatever, curse
around
you,
the bush about it.
spread lies or rumors about you, and then she can get away with it and stuff like that, man. I remember in high school, it even got so bad that like guys actually, had a female friend basically that would handle that business. Like, oh hey, that girl can talk shit about me. Hey, can you go take care of business? You know what I'm saying? But of course, back in the day, that wasn't always the case. Like anybody could get the smoke. Like you say anything bad about, someone. Hey, there was dueling and stuff like that, and things like that. But because we live in a gynocentric society, violence is a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's never the solution. Well, I just said a lot of problems in society right now would be solved overnight with violence.
Like you and me outside, may the best man win.
Yeah, exactly.
What I mean?
Seriously,
and sometimes you have to give it to people like that, man. Yeah. And you can't do that necessarily. But I guess for me, did you finish your last?
Yeah, because I gotta use the bathroom. Sorry, I've been holding it in, guys.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll finish the last thought, bro, and
okay.
I'll try to post it for you. So I guess what I wanted to say to the people, I guess my last note would be. As men, we got to realize our place in society, and we can't let women or society tell us what that is. The reason we have these things, I always tell people, men and women, go to the highest peak in your city and look out. What do you see? You see something men have accomplished. 99% of what you will see, men have accomplished it. Women are feeding off of it. And so that's why I say we are the prize. I will recommend a video to you guys also. It's by Dr. Phil Valentine. Dr. Phil, Phil, Valentine. And it's called What is a Man? Go look at that video and listen to it. And I promise you will wake up. I promise you will wake up. He talks about the concept of... actually, he asked the group that he's with, right? And they're about a bunch of metaphysicians, and they have deep thought, and they talk about spirituality. And he goes, what is a man, right? And they go, well, he's a protector, he's a king, he's a provider, he's all these things, right? And he goes, okay, that's good. But what you just gave are job descriptions, right? It's very crazy how he put this. It's crazy perception, but it's true. He says what you just gave was a job description, right? So that's how that's how women in society sees men, as job descriptions. And if they're not doing their job, they can be replaced, right? And that's how women in society see men. And he then asked the group again, what is a man, right? Then they come to the conclusion that a man is undefinable, right? Right? And then you just gotta go watch that video, 15 minutes long. Just go watch it, listen to it. As a man, it'll change your perspective. So you really want to know what's a man? Look within yourself and realize you're the prize. You give life. Women don't give life. You give life. Men give life. Women sustain it, and they nurture it and allow it to grow. You know, you put a Mother Earth doesn't give life. All the masculine qualities of the universe give life, and the feminine aspects nurture it. Mother Earth doesn't grow fruit until she's given a seed. So that's the concept that you guys have to operate off. Men are the prize. As long as you realize that, then you realize what a man is. So start there. That's what I recommend. So peace and love. It's the chosen one. It's the guided one. It's the guided one. It's the chosen one. It's the man with the pitcher of water.